Welcome friends, it is I, Hi-Rez LostScarf, and it's time for the Short Smite Beginner Guide to Cabrakan. That's right, the Earth Sunderer, the one that kills mountains, the guardian that is ridiculously aggressive. Cabrakan is here, and we're going to do a guide on him, and of course this is for beginners, to have you get a better idea of how Cabrakan works so you can try him out and learn some things yourself and just get better with him. Advanced and expert players probably already know everything I'm going to say, but if there's anything you feel I missed, please put it in the comments so that people can learn from that as well. That's very important. As always, we're going to go over class and roles, abilities, purchases, tips and combos, and a conclusion over everything we talked about. So there you go. Let's get going. Class and traditional roles. Now, Cabrakan is a guardian, which means he has great natural tankiness and various means of CC, and they have ridiculous damage. Cabrakan's a very aggressive god. He has 2 melee stuns and a proximity wall, but because of how aggressive and how close he has to be, he could get himself beat up pretty bad, so you have to be very careful with him. Now, for beginners, I say solo lane. I like Cabrakan in the solo lane very much. He has the build counter to his opponent, which is just general advice for solo lanes, and is clear slow at the start. But as you go on into the match, get more items, get more levels, Cabrakan can hold his own in the solo lane pretty well, and sometimes you can actually kill the enemy solo if they get foolish against him, especially if they don't have a jump. That is the one great weakness of Cabrakan, is jumps, because they can get over his ult. But if they don't have one, he can kill them, and if they do have one, he can beat them up so badly they have to go back to base, or maybe even set them up for a jungle gank. Now for advanced, he can be played in jungle and support. I say support is not beginner for him, because support is pretty hard for Cabrakan. He can cause a lot of trouble as a support, but he can also get himself killed horribly as a support, so you have to be very careful there, because he doesn't have the same peel as other guardians. He has to get in there to do the peeling, and just cause a lot of trouble, unlike other guardians who can do it from range, which is what his weakness is, but it's also strength and just how much damage he can put out by doing that. As for jungle, he's very slow at the clear at the start, but because of his wall and his other abilities, he can cause some really good setups for teammates to get really a lot of kills going on there. He can get the kill for himself with a teammate, or he can get his teammates kills, depending on who gets the last hit. But Cabrakan can be a really good support jungler. But later on, with all these roles as a team fighter, he can cause so much trouble and get so many kills for himself and his team that he is a big threat late in the game. Abilities. Now, Cabrakan's abilities are all about just fighting. First up is his passive, which is Shadow Zone. Allies near him take 5% reduced damage. That way they can stick around and fight a little bit longer because they don't take as much damage. His first ability is called Seismic Crush, and what's great about this is that it gives him a movement speed buff and attack speed buff, and also makes him immune to slows and roots for 5 seconds. His next basic attack within those 5 seconds will cause a stun, so it's really good for just ignoring things or just getting through a bad situation by using this one, or just causing one with the stun. His second ability is called Refraction Shield. Now, Cobb gains protections as he takes damage. This is from minions. Any source of damage will put up his protection stacks, and when you get to 5 stacks, he can stun with his second ability. Cobb's third ability is called Tremors. Now, this is a channeling damage attack around Cabrakan that uses mana every 0.5 seconds. It sucks a lot of mana out of him, but what's great about it is it does some good amount of damage over time later in the match, but also it disrupts the enemy team. It wobbles them around, which can make them not get a kill against your team, which is very useful. And finally is the ultimate Tectonic Shift. This is a skill shot that does damage and eventually turns into a wall that can only be broken with basic attacks. Cabrakan can break them with 1 hit, other gods have to use it multiple hits to break the walls. What this does is it gets a god stuck between Cabrakan and a hard place, and he just beats the crap of them. So it's really nice right there. And you can use Tremors to keep them there because they're going to get slowed down and wobbled around in there, or you can use your stuns to keep them in place there, or you just kill them with all the attacks you have. And if you don't kill them, maybe your teammates will, because they're going to be stuck for a while with all the stuff you have in your kit. Tips and combos. First up is your Seismic Crush. It can be useful in escape or gap closing because it ignores slows and roots, and also because you get a speed boost from it. Another thing about Seismic Crush is that the basic attack can pair well with Polynomicon and Soul Reaver for a really hard-hitting punch. A helpful tip with Refraction Shield is that you can get the stacks up from minions, so you can just have a bunch of minion archers shoot you really quick, and then you have your 5 stacks, and you can cause some trouble. Another nice thing about Refraction Shield is you can use it during Seismic Crush. So if you get the stun stacks ready during Seismic Crush, you can do the stun from that, and then do the stun from Seismic Crush, so it's pretty nice right there. Tremor's tip is that it is great for disrupting the enemy team when they're chasing teammates. It's just really nice for slowing them down. And lastly, Tectonic Shift can be used to save lives or end them because of the wall and just the damage out of it. Cabrakan only has one combo, that is 1-2 plus 4 plus 3 plus 1-2. What happens here is you use your 1 and 2 to do a bunch of damage and to stun the enemy in place, then use your ultimate to get them behind the wall, and then you just beat them up with Tremors, and eventually after a while, you'll be able to do your 1 and 2 again to finish them off if Tremors wasn't enough to kill them. Now, of course, this does take a while, and of course you have to take into account gods with leaps. If they have leaps, you want to maybe save your 1. You use your 2 at first to hurt them, maybe even stun them. Hopefully they leap. If not over a wall, you can chase them with your 1, maybe get another stun on them, or trap them with your ultimate, then hit them with the 1, then use tremors on them, and then you do 1, 2 again to finish them out. Of course, during all of this, you're going to take a while so teammates and enemies can come over, so you have to take into account what might happen with that. Purchases for Cabrakan. Cabrakan is an extremely aggressive god because he's all about the melee, so you want to build him Bruiser. You want to give him some defense so he can stay alive long enough to melee people, and you want to give him power to kill them horribly. Polynomicon and Soul Reaver aren't a bad idea to give Cabrakan because of how well it pairs with him. It'll just give more pack of a punch, so it's not bad to have there. Now, as far as actives go, Weakening Curse isn't a bad idea because it's really good with Tremors. It'll make them just stand it longer, and of course, Chill the Underworld is not a bad idea to consider because you're going to be a target during Tremors. And then there's Blink, which can be really good for surprise stuns and just combos. You just go, surprise, beat the crap out of them, then they're dead. That's not bad right there either. In conclusion, Cabrakan is a very aggressive god. He has some tankiness to him, but he can get himself killed pretty easily if you're not careful. So you want to be really smart about when you attack. Just get in there at the right time, cause a bunch of trouble, and then you can get some kills in there. Because he's a guy that punched mountains to death. So punching a god to death, probably just as bad. So there you go, that right there is the guide. As a beginner god, share it with your friends so they understand Cabrakan better, and maybe they'll give a try in playing Cabrakan. With more people playing Cabrakan and just getting better at the game in general, it enriches everyone's gameplay because, well, just more people are just good with more gods, which will vary up picks and just make things more interesting. So there you go, that is the guide. I had fun making it, hope you had fun watching it. That's what's all about, isn't it? Having fun, thanks for coming by, and see you next time. And up next will be Chuck. See you then.